Hello. Okay, so well, last time we got to the stage where we have two words, one from the Welsh and one from the gibberish list, appear randomly, and I say randomly, but it still does that. And yeah, this is where we are. So in this version of everything, I'm gonna add two things at least, and that is, first off, we're gonna be loading the words that we're gonna use into an array, and we are also going to be loading the buttons within the scene onto an array, and then we are hopefully going to be assigning the words to each button, assuming on how many buttons there are. So the first thing we need to do is start getting the buttons into an array, and that is going to be done pretty cool. So if we go into Unity first and go to the button, and obviously make sure you've got this button selected here rather than the whole canvas or the text field within it, and we're just going to change this tag here, but we need to add the tag first. And if you click add tag and then the plus sign here, and we will call this option button. And then if you click back on the button and then change the tag to option button, and do the same for the second one. Now you won't see anything actually happen here, nothing changes. All a tag is literally like a luggage tag, so you know what it is, you know who it belongs to or whatever, and it's just an identifier, if you like. It does nothing more than identify what this is. So I mean, we could have 50 buttons if we wanted, give them all the same tag, and then we can code things so that if you've got this tag, I want you to do this one thing. So it's pretty useful. But again, this is more of a Unity thing. I mean, you could assign things properties and things like that in C#, but it's a cool Unity gimmick. So oh, 1 second, need to go tell my dog. These disgraceful dogs, man, honestly. It's I give them pizza and all sorts, and yeah, that's how they treat me, by barking at people through the bedroom windows. So yeah. Okay, what we're going to do is, in start, we're going to add, well, we're going to find our buttons, basically. So we're going to create a new, yeah, we'll do it here. We'll create a new game object, and this is going to be an array. And why is that not happening? So I'm stupid. Game object, not game objects. And we're going to call this option buttons equals game object dot find game objects with tag. And that's why I was getting confused, because basically when you're like calling this function here that's built into Unity, it uses the S. You can do find game object with tag or objects, but you use objects when you're using an array, and you use object when you're using one single version of it. And then in here we're going to do option button, I believe we called it option button. Yeah. So that will create an array of all our buttons. And then what would we want to do now? Okay, that's that done. Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. Now, we can leave these in for now. We need to change all this. But in here, set new words, what we can do is, we can... Okay, sorry, I had to pause it there because I was brain farting and I didn't know what I was going to do next. So now we've got an array of buttons. It could be 3 buttons, it could be 20 buttons. We now need to assign a number of words equals to how many buttons that exist. So we again need to change this a little because, well, the Welsh words is irrelevant. We don't care how many Welsh words there are, and so on, so on, so on. We need to know how many buttons there are, and we need to generate 1 word per button. So first off, we need to get the Welsh word, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a new array up here, and we're going to call this public string playable words. There we go. And then down here, we're gonna say playable words dot. Yeah, I thought there used to be a clear thing. Playable words dot equals null. I think that should be okay, but because what we first need to do is clear the actual playable words because we don't want there to be any leftovers. And now playable, no, that's what we'll do, sorry. We'll just, we'll make that a string actually. So we'll make this a list, sorry. List. We'll call this a string. Playable list string. There we go. And then we've got playable words equals dot add. Hey, there we go. Playable words dot clear. Boom, gone. And then we'll do playable words dot add, and we will add word one button dot. In fact, you know what? Just copy this because we don't want to be typing that shit. And there we go. So the first step there would be we're going to add the Welsh word to this list. And now what we want to check is for I equals for int I equals 0, I is less than, we'll do option buttons dot length minus 1. Option buttons dot length. What's wrong with that now? Come on. My goody aunt. Okay, so game object option buttons. And here we will set that. And then there we are, -1, and then I++. Man, who knew that would work, huh? And then this will go in here. Now this is going to cause problems because we're basically what we're going to do is, so options buttons get set to, let's say, 4 for instance, yeah, and then down here we'll add that. That'll be the first one, and then here every time it'll loop around for, let's say, 3 more times to get the total to 4. But then because it's a random number, so we're gonna have to randomize the number within this too, like a random number every time. So yeah, this is getting a bit more complicated. But yeah, because it's gonna go around a few times, the random number could be the same thing twice. So in which case we'll have the same word come up twice. So playable words dot add, and then no shit, we don't. Sorry, we don't even need that right now. But don't delete it. Actually, you can keep that. We'll take this and we'll just put it here because that is what we'll be using to assign the thingy. But we only need to get the actual words at this point. So we've added the Welsh word, and now we're adding gibberish words, and option button length, and now we need to create a new function for a random range. So public int random word or random number for word choice, and then we'll do int rand equals random dot range 0 Welsh words dot length. Now, you see, you don't even need to do Welsh words dot length. It's probably better at this point that we just do gibberish, because the Welsh words is irrelevant. If we want like a million gibberish words, so be it. Gibberish words dot length, because man, this is getting pretty complicated. So this rand here will determine which Welsh word we use. So if we call this Welsh rand, and then here we'll just put Welsh rand, and then here random number of choice words, gibberish words dot length, and then return rand. Grand. And then in here we are going to go random number for word choice. Now every time this for loop runs, it will call a new number from here and pick it from the list. Now again, it's not going to be able to be that smart at the moment because it's going to use like the its potential to use the same thing over and over again. And now again, we're going to have to get a random number for the explanation because it could be an odd number of explanations. But because we're using the Welsh word array, we could just use the Welsh rand because we want them to sync up. So if there's 100 Welsh words, there's going to be 100 explanations. Come on, boy, be good. Okay, so stick buttons in the array, that's done. Randomize the buttons. Okay, so yeah, that's what we need to do now, is actually decide what word goes where. Now I'm praying that I know arrays can't do it, but I'm hoping the list can kind of jumble itself up. So playable words dot Oh no, now my dogs are gonna start killing each other. So I'm pretty sure you'll appreciate this. They make some hell of a noise. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pause it and find a quick shuffle method for these. Alright, who knew that this would be so damn complicated? Okay, so apparently we need to create another function. This will be called, let's say, void shuffle words, and then it's going to be a string text. Yep, okay. And basically, whether you know or not, this is going to be a parameter of this function. So when this function gets called, it has to inexplicitly use something, and in this case, it has to be a string of an array of strings. Sorry. So then here we can do for int t equals 0. As you may already know, you can use any letter you like, but t for text sounds good. I mean, you could even use word if you wanted to, like w equals 0. W is less than text dot length, and then w plus plus, and then string temp equals text dot text w. There we go. And then int r equals random dot range w and text dot length. Sorry, you can obviously just ignore all this for now, and then I'll run through it real quick of what's happening. W equals text r, and then texts r equals temp. Oh. There we go. Now, okay, so wow, what an awkward code this is. Fingers crossed it works, huh? So we are going to pass a variable to this, and the variable we're going to use is our playable words list that we made. And then when it goes in, let's say we've got 4 words, it's going to run through the loop of how many words we've got, which is 4. So it's pretty magical if I figure that out. And then it's going to temporarily store the first word in a string here. So it'll be like string temp equals texts 1. I mean, we can change text to words, to be honest. Words dot length. There we go. And we change this up here to words. And then words. And yeah, so then the next line, this one, it will generate a random number, and it'll then, you've got that assigned as R, and then it'll take the first letter that we've got, so in this case it'll be text W, and it'll assign it to texts R, so the random position within the array, and then text R will be reassigned to temp again. So that way, in theory, it should like go, okay, so the first word is, let's say, Reese. Reese is now going to be in this random position. So let's assign that, and then we'll start this back to the temp, and then we'll replace that with the next word, and so on, so on, so on. And it'll keep going through all the way through the deck of, in this case, cards, the tutorial I saw. But it'll go through the cards or the words or, you know, whatever, the mangoes if you're doing bloody fruit. So, words. I don't know, I feel like there should be like a solved problem or something, you know, because you can do pretty much anything, but you can't do that. So, now playable words dot shuffle. No, that won't work. Now we do shuffle words, and then we'll do playable words. Can I do that? Sure, it should just be as simple as that. It's whoa, come on. Get it? I want your work. What is going on? Playable words. I feel like I'm missing something. Playable words, playable words. It's great as well because everyone who's done this has got like a million different ways of bloody doing it, man. Ah! Surely not. String words. No. It has to use something. Shuffle words. This is really impressed, I'm sure, Leanne, huh? You're probably over there like, oh wow, Reese, you're so good at programming. You have no clue what you're doing. Reshuffle. Shuffle words array, playable words. Dot. What? No, very weird. See, it wants me to put an array in, but I put the array in and it still doesn't happen. So, results, playable words. Okay, be right back. Okay, I think I've got a plan. So, what we're going to do, we're just going to remove this bloody thing here. We're going to remove the parameters. And I'm fairly confident this will work. And then we're going to change all these friggin' stupid words to playable words. So we put playable words here, we put playable words here, and so on, so on, so on. And then my hope is that it'll figure itself out, because right now it's not really doing much. Jeez. Playable words. Okay, you're gonna have to change the length to count as well, because maybe that's why it wasn't working, because I was trying to use an array instead of a list or some shit. I don't know, but I don't even care at this point. So save all, and then right after this, just out of curiosity's sake, you don't have to do this, but I'm doing it for my own benefit just to see what happens. I is equal to playable words dot count I plus plus, and then print playable words I. The hell's wrong with this now? Oh, there we go. Okay, now in theory, when I run this, it should, fingers crossed, print all the like playable words in. Oh God, kill me. Return rand. There we go. That's fine. All part of my plan. Just showing you that I'm human too. So, yeah. Llangrannog. Okay, so the Welsh word came out first, but because it should be random, it Aberystwyth. Hey, there we go. So as you can see here, the second word that came out is in Welsh. So hey, shuffle function works after like, I don't know, 10 minutes of pausing it every 2 minutes. Yeah, so the words are way more random now, so they're never going to be met with the same random option. But as you can see, like, there we go, the Welsh word is top, that's made up. Welsh word is bottom, and the top one's made up. So that's cool. That works quite well, actually. Now, what I was talking about earlier, this is going to blow your mind, is now, in theory, if we just duplicate word 2, and we just drag it down a little, and we'll take word 2 and drag it up into the middle. Now, assuming I haven't been a bit of an idiot and forgotten something, we can change this to word 3, and then save it. I think we should generate 3 words now. Oh, jeez. Here we go. So the first word that came out, that's in Welsh. The other 2 are crappy. And then, oh god, only 2 came out that time. What happened? Oh, no, that is the problem I was talking about earlier. So you see how I have this collapsed? So we've got a landfoil in the same word twice. That's because we don't really have that much of a database, There we go, and then Llangrannog came out. So at this point, that's cool. I mean, if you want to copy all this, you can. But what I'm going to do now is, just to make it that bit better, is in the game manager, I'm just going to expand the... shit, it's not even there, is it? It's up here. So I'm just going to add a few more random things here. Interessante. Pen... Fishing. Why be better in there? And then and last one. Alrighty. So now this will just obviously it'll help with the randomness a little, and it'll stop. It will help with 2 coming out, but that's not guaranteed. So yeah, I would say we could probably run this a few times now, and we probably won't get the 2 thing. But random's random, so you can't really guarantee what's going to come out and what's not. Well, we can. That's a lie. We can do that, and we will do that at some point, but not right now. So that's that cool. Job done. And now this is where the magic happens. We've set the words, we've shuffled the words, and now we just need to reassign them to our array of buttons so that they all go back into the buttons again. It's going to be sick. So finally, just for tidiness, I'm going to make another function called assign words to buttons. Down here again, so void assign words to buttons. Excellent. And then for int I equals 0, I is less than the length of the buttons. Buttons options, but God help me, option buttons dot length. Yeah, there we go. I plus plus, and then we're gonna do where's this code up here? There we go. We'll take this, and then, but instead of word button dot 1, we're gonna do options buttons I dot get component dot text equals. Oh, what is wrong with this now? Options buttons I. How the hell does that not exist? Option buttons I. Option buttons I. You know what? I'm not even worried about that right now. Option buttons I. Playable words I. What is wrong with you? Ah, I've done it again. Option buttons. There we go. So, as you can tell, I'm super tired today. So, yeah, a bit of sympathy when you get a chance. So it runs through this loop now, and it'll start with 0, and then it'll get the first button and assign it to the first word, and so on. And because way up here somewhere we just put some spaces between these, we limited the number of words equal to the number of buttons that we've got, so that we're never going to have too many words or too many buttons or anything like that. So where is it? When we random, no, yeah, here, nope, that's just shuffling. Here, sorry. So we've got the options buttons length -1 because we've added the Welsh button. That takes up one of the array, if you like, and then we have to basically minus the Welsh word out here, and so on. So now, if this works correctly, hey. Now, because there we go. Play again. Perfecto. So, what did I have on the list? Yeah, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to do here. Now, I think the next thing we should do is see about loading these words from a CSV or something, yeah? So, I'll prepare that one. I don't know how I'm again. Well, I'm going to give this to you shortly. So, you can tell me whether you want to do anything over the weekend. Probably not, because that saves me some hassle too. And then if we just carry on with this Monday or so, and I'll have pretty much, once the list is done, it's just graphics and sound effects and shit. So that'll be pretty cool. And then we can start looking at adding scores and things like that, accessing people's files on their phones or whatever, so that we can save scores and data and high scores, who knows what. That'll be cool. So, talk to you later.